People's State Bank. That's pretty cool how they were able to get back and get to that original part of the bank up there. They did the same thing on this side. This is actually the Mazeppa Area Historical Society building now. Isn't that cool? So they told me there's a pile of bricks in the back, and that's where I'm going to head off to now, in the back of the Historical Society, that they think they go back to the depot in town. You know, they've been passed around town throughout the years, and they wound up here, and there's a pile of them. So I don't know, I'll show them to you. You tell me what you think. So I don't know. Old looking bricks, that's for sure. Look at those. Here's a name on one over here. Des Moines. I don't know, they sure look old to me. I think this one says something else on it. I don't know. It says something there. I got it upside down, or right side up. I can't tell what that says. But that one definitely says Des Moines on it. Here's some more. That's Des Moines. Des Moines. Des Moines. That'd be pretty cool, huh? So this town goes back to 1855 it was founded in, so it's a pretty old town. So how about we take just a little look before we... I don't know if you've been following me on my Mr. B's Hiawathaland Facebook page, but I have found an article. I don't know if you're familiar with the depot in Wabasha that was out by the levee. And we've been thinking, you know, with what we see, that was actually built by the Minnesota Midland. And I found an article today that definitely mentions that as being of the Minnesota Midland, so I'm kind of excited about that, and I can't wait to get over to Wabasha. And when I get there, I'm going to have Ethan Kruger. You remember him. I call him the drone guy. That's Blue Stem Films, and he's going to do some drone work for me over there, because I can't really get into a position I want to take a photo over there unless I was in the river. So we're going to use his drone. Anyway, when we get to talking about this depot, I think You know, have you ever heard that saying, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck? Well, that's kind of what this is with this depot. I believe this depot was built by the Minnesota Midland in probably about 1878 or so. But it's not like I've got a newspaper clip that says, "Huzzah, huzzah, the depot has been built." So, you know, it's just a really strong feeling I have, because you're looking at all of this evidence you've been finding, but you haven't found the exact words. So I'm leaning, I would bet that this was built by the Minnesota Midland when it came through in about 1878 or so. And I do have a map I'm going to put up, because we're going to start with maps, of course. And this first map is 1880. And you're going to see that the depot is here by 1880 on that map. And then, you know, this is a heck of a story. I was going to tell it in Wabasha. The Midland's being built in 1878, and it's failing. So a group of business guys get together. This is the quick story. Get together. They buy the controlling shares of the Midland. And by the end of 1880, they have it open and running and making a profit. And it's running, man. And I'm going to put up, after that map, I am going to put up a timetable from back in 1878 that shows that they're running freight and passenger trains on this line already. Yeah, so I'm, you know, and the Milwaukee Road does buy this railroad, but they don't incorporate it into the Milwaukee Road right away. They let it run on its own by itself, underneath its own name as their own company. So I mean, all the evidence is there. You just don't see the words. Yeah. So let's get started, and I'll put up that map. So this is Walnut and 2nd Street. If you looked at that map, 2nd Street was running down this way here, and it stopped right here at Walnut Street. It didn't go on back there in the day in that map. That first map I showed you that goes back to, I think it was 1880. So that's where the street stopped, was right behind me. And let me just walk out here just a little bit. And I am going to turn around. So this corner right here, and I think that depot was right up to the street here. But this is the first photo I'm going to put in. It's an old postcard, and it does mention the Minnesota Midland Division on that postcard. Right there. So give me just a little bit of leeway here, but I believe this is probably about where the old rail bed was. And this, I think, is apartments now, but we're back to that building that I said is on the footprint of the old depot. So I'm thinking right about where this driveway is probably where the old rail bed was, right in there. And I do have some pictures that come from the other end. Now, I'm not going to walk through there because it's private property, but if you were standing at the far end looking at me, this is what you would see in that view. Well, I can't bring myself into walking, into that apartment complex. It's private property, but I see a fence here. And I have another video. I'm going to put up, so I don't know. There's the fence. There's the river. I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. So I'm going to walk down that way just a little bit. Plug in one more photo for you. You can see the slope of the ground here, and this next photo I'm going to put up. It's probably taken right about there. Right about there is that depot right there. So that's where the depot was, up on that corner. And here's the bridge over the Zumbro River. I gotta show you this bridge because it's so cool looking. This was, for motorized vehicles, of course, the one-lane bridge probably back in the day. It's looks like it's been redone here in 2002. A cooperative trail grant project, walking bridge. Welcome, no motorized vehicles allowed. Let's see if we can get a picture of that up there for you. There you go. Look at how fancy that thing is, isn't it? You know this is old. 1904. That's pretty cool. There's a view from the other side. Back over there is where the depot was. Imagine bringing yourself back in time and seeing the tracks over there. You can see where the ground is built up back there. And that's where I think the railroad bed was, up on that years ago. Awesome. Awesome history here. I know this isn't railroad history, but it's worth a look, It really is. I walked down the trail here in that park, and this is, I think, 60. And, right up in there somewhere, that railroad had to cross this road and head out that way over there. But you can't see anything, not a clue. I love the sound of running water. I'll tell you what though, looks pretty cold. So I'm gonna head back to my truck and I'll catch you there. So I'm gonna put up some newspaper articles. Just love these old newspaper articles, don't you? And the one I'm gonna put up is, I don't know, kind of scary, to be honest. Yeah. So this, you're the engineer, okay? It's 1925, and you're coming from Zumbro Falls towards Mazeppa. Okay, so this is Milwaukee Road at the time. And you start to notice that, your locomotive is slowing up a little bit. What's going on with this thing? And we're losing steam. You're losing steam. So you look over and you see the fireman, and he's kind of slumped over with his head kind of hanging out the window a little bit. And you think, gee whiz, Frank, what's the matter with you? Did you fall asleep? So you go over there and you nudge him, and nothing happens. So you nudge him again, and nothing happens. So you kind of roll him over, and you see that he's been shot in the head. Yeah, so it's a story about, running your railroad from Zumbro Falls to Mazeppa, and on the way, your fireman gets shot. Yeah, I'll put that up. I'll make that one the first one. Mazeppa is right up there. There's the river right there. Okay. And the road is going up the hill here. But now I see this. And, I'm wondering if this wasn't the old rail bed once we get to this point. And there's no sense walking down it because I see a sign down there that I think says no trespassing. Yeah, so I'm not going to go any further. But I know that between this road and that river in this area had to be the rail bed. And because this is built up a little bit, it makes me think that this could be it. But I'd just be guessing. Okay, well, what do you think of that, huh? We saw the depot. I was waltzing around town a little bit here, seeing if I could find some ruins someplace, but I can't. I drove up the street. You saw that. I drove up the street in one direction, and I know where the railroad's got to be, but I'm just not sure if that's it or not. And that was that little road I saw going in there, and I know it's got to be between the highway and the road. And then I drove the other side of 60. I know where it's got to come across 60, yet I can't see anything there. And there's subdivisions there and stuff now, and the depot itself was moved. It wasn't torn down. It was moved. Probably the late 60s is what the discussion was when I was at the Historical Society in Mazeppa. That it was moved in the late 60s to some farm field. The farmer was using it, and nobody knows what happened to it since, And I do have a picture I'll put up, like an aerial picture or something was taken from somewhere. And that's 1970, and you can see the depot's gone by then. Yeah. So I'll catch you on my next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and God bless you all.